Good morning, movers and shakers. Welcome to Movie Minnesota. My name is Mike Walgrave. You can reach me at michael@walgrave.com. We are here today to talk more about Scott County, the southwest part of the Twin Cities, Minnesota metro area. We've been taking a look around the last 8 days now. We're on show number 8 in our first 2 weeks, taking a look around the Twin Cities of the Minnesota. It is one of the nicest places in the country to live. Unless you hate snow, then probably not. But overall, this is a great place. There's a lot to be offered here. They like to say the snow keeps the riffraff out. So anyways, coming up, we got a lot on the agenda, I guess. We're going to take a look at some videos from around the area. The county of Scott has Bella Plain, Credit River, Elko, New Market, Jordan, Prior Lake, Savage, and Shakopee as the cities. We'll look at a few of those. I think we got a wildlife protective refuge that we're going to take a look at. And then we got a list of farmer markets coming up this week or this weekend. How you doing today, Mr. Beener? Are you doing all right?
Doing great. It's a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday morning. I hope everybody's having a great start to their day. And I'm ready to get into some moving of Minnesota. How's your day been, Mr. Wally Geester?
Pretty good. The sun came back out. More rain yesterday, but today is a nice day. I might have to go for a cruise through Scott County. I know we have a little driving video coming up here. Mostly we're playing it just to see if I can do a better job than what he did. So this is partially a videography show, I guess, for all the folks out there trying to get in and create their own content in the real estate world. Some of these creators, they got a lot of good things going on. So we'll check them out and give them some props. But yeah, what do we got up first for the segments here?
Well, we do have the best things to do in Prior Lake.
Yeah, let's check that out.
And so
Michael@walgrave.com, 612-930-2929. If you're thinking about moving to the cities or in the cities and thinking about moving around the cities, give me a shout so you can find your next home, your next place. I would love to work with you. Just give me a call, 612-930-2929. And time frame wise, I can probably help you if you get a hold of me 3 weeks minimum that you want to buy a home, and maximum, 3 years, 10 years. I don't know. It's a slow process, such a big investment. So if you're not ready now, you might as well start preparing for the future. That'd be a tip from a realtor. Before we move into this, Garrett, I went to that meeting yesterday, that the NAR lawsuit settlement that's affecting all realtors across the U.S., and they're getting the paperwork filled out. So if you're going to go see a house with a realtor these days, expect to sign some paperwork and maybe even have your letter of a pre-approval from a bank lender. That has always been the way they do business, but now the state's requiring it to an extent, and so you might have a realtor. You don't have to sign on with a realtor. They have a non-exclusive form that they'll probably have you fill out on the first meeting, which says, yeah, we're just going to take a look at this, and if you decide to make an offer, you could probably just go to the buyer or the seller. It's not really recommended, but that it doesn't commit you to a contract. And the second showing, that might be different. Now you're talking about a contract, and it's just basically outlining that, yes, me and you have a contract together. I'm working for you. I'm a fiduciary for you. That's a little bit more technical, but it's still not locking you into some agreement. I mean, we can both go our separate ways if it turns out we hate each other or something weird like that. So you are not legally going to go to court if it doesn't work out and you find that the service is not what you're looking for. That's fine. And there's also a time frame that they'll put in there too. It's usually a 6-month period. Usually you can find a house in 6 months or less, or sell a house in 6 months or less. So that contract can go up to a year or however long you want to work with each other. But just something to know when you're getting into the home buying these days. The paperwork is changing and probably what you've seen, what anybody's seen. So don't be surprised if somebody is giving you a new form that you've never seen before, and There's your heads up from yesterday's meeting. Essentially, it's more or less going to be business as usual. You'll probably have better ways to negotiate. I should have better ways as a buyer agent to negotiate. There's more things I can do now. So that'll be something to be considered in the future, how that's all going to play out. But I do know that there's more flexibility because of these rules. So with that, let's do a rolling.
All right, here we go. All right, things to do in Prior Lake. I love how like green and lakey it is. I mean, I will say that during summer the mosquitoes can get bad, but it's not like it's just because of the water. It's not humid like it is down south here.
It is. You would think that would be fairly similar, but yeah, just being 2 hours north of where you're at in the southern part of the state of Minnesota, it's different. So you get different weather systems coming through, for one.
I just love how open. I mean, I've been all over the country, and I've been through mountains and valleys and deserts, and I just love how I love the plains. I mean, you will never see better sunrises or sunsets on. Look at that.
Yeah, my uncle, he lives in Rock County, Minnesota too, and anytime he comes up north away from the flatlands and the prairies and where you're at, it bothers him driving through the woods and such because he can't see the horizon like you can down. Yeah, so there's more open sky country where you're at. But we got more lakes up here, so.
Yeah, I mean, as you get to the more middle and the north of the state, it gets to be very lakey. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Oh, here we go. Now, I'm not a fan of the cold, but I do enjoy riding a snowmobile or two every once in a great blue moon.
They have a snowmobile association in Prior Lake, it looks like. So okay. They got, much like motorcycle clubs, they have snowmobile clubs up in Minnesota.
There are plenty of people that take advantage of the cold weather. I'm just not one of those people.
What's wrong with ice fishing?
I don't like the cold.
Maybe if you had more meat on your bones, Garrett,
maybe, but I'm cool. I enjoy chilling inside and watching the snowfall versus out in it.
Yeah.
And
there's an indoor and outdoor season in Minnesota. Yeah.
There are so many parks all over everywhere. Even down in Laverne, there's a park every block and a half, it seems like.
Yeah. Minnesotans like a place for the kids to play, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I was just going to say it's very, very family friendly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got 36 lakes in Scott County. We were talking about the other day, 3 of them being Rice Lake. Hopefully they have a Rice Lake festival. I'd love to see communities get more into the indigenous or the original grains of this area.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty important part of the history of the Native Americans too. So good morning, Amber.
Good morning, Amber.
I believe we have a golf tournament we're going to for our company. There's the Minnesota real estate team, number 3 in the globe. That's a team. We're I think August 1st is this golf tournament. So expect to go, and I expect to get footage. So maybe we can toss that on the show coming up here too.
That would be great.
Yeah, I'm gonna try talking a couple of the other new guys into forming a golf team. I haven't golfed in 10 years, aside from the simulator that we played on when you were down here. So I might have to go put some time in on that. But it's a best ball. So the 3 of us, if we all suck, but if we can find a pro or something, we got a chance. And I think I'm on it. One of the guys that works at his dad is the main contractor for us down in Savage, Minnesota. He gets all the stuff done that your house is going to need to sell properly, and so he runs around this area. And anyways, his kid, I believe, either just graduated or he's 18 years old, and I think he went to the Minnesota State golf tournament this past spring. So we might have a ringer. We will see.
Yeah, it's got a very cool downtown Main Street-esque experience.
Yeah,
I love the old boutique shops and stuff like that. You can just kind of wander in and out of.
yeah. A lot of these towns have really nice little downtown areas that they've kept up over the years. It's not just all sprawl and
See, like
malls.
that's so cool. There's all sorts of breweries too. If you like home brews, and Minnesota's a state for you.
Oh yeah, it blew up in the last 10 years for
Oh,
sure.
absolutely. There's so many new breweries and brewing companies and new pale ales and IPAs, and it's wild.
Do you have a favorite Minnesota beer?
Probably Take 16 here in Laverne, just because I'm not a huge like dark roast, pale ale, IPA, none of that. And they have I can't remember what it's called. The Country Mile, that's what it's called, and it's
Kind
like
of a lager, I think.
It's like a Bud Light.
Yep. I think my favorite is Summit. It's either Summit or Surly for Minnesota for me. So
Okay.
Summit was one of the original craft brews before all this stuff started on fire. So
Yeah, lots of places to take kiddos between like that, and I don't know. Well, they don't have Camp Snoopy; it's now Legoland, but right?
Yep.
In Mall America, yep.
I think it's Nickelodeon land now. Like it went from Snoopy to Nickelodeon, but they still have the Lego place in there. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's water parks and local theaters. I mean, there's always something to do.
Yeah.
That's the bad thing about Laverne is there is nothing to do. There is,
Oh.
I mean, there's parks and such, but like, I don't know, they don't. Which I mean, obviously, there's more to do because there's more people up towards the cities.
Right. They got the Palace down there. They got a theater group. Was it the Green Earth something or other?
Yeah, they put on like 4 plays a year, I think it is.
Mm-hmm. Do a good job. You got the drive-in movie theater in Laverne. You know, their downtown is probably one of the nicest, I would think, in the state in terms of being kept up for a city of 5,000. You know, that's pretty impressive. But you ever been to a powwow before?
When I was in school.
They usually, I've been to a couple in school and then went to the Mananaman Festival up in Lake Superior area in Wisconsin. The Bad River Tribe has a wild rice festival every year. And I'd definitely recommend checking it out if you want
to. Have you ever been to Mystic Lake Casino?
I've been there. I've been there a few times, not to gamble per se. Yeah, I threw some quarters in a slot machine or whatever, but I got tickets to Willie Nelson one time. They get some music acts coming through Mystic Lake, and we had these awesome seats. And yeah, that was a really cool concert. At the end of it, I took my hat off and I put a business card inside the hat. And then I just winged it up on stage from about 12 rows back and landed it on the stage. And Willie Nelson ends up picking it up, seeing my business card.
That's
puts
cool.
the business card in his pocket, signs the hat, and gives it to a fan. I was like, that's sweet.
That is cool. Yeah, it's so pretty up there.
Mm-hmm. Land of the sky blue water, 10,000 lakes. You ever drink Hams? Wasn't that their mass beer of the 80s? They had like a cartoon for their brand. They don't do that anymore. At least not in America.
So yeah, Prior Lake is a pretty cool town. I mean, I think I would rather live in Shakopee just because. Well, it's kind of the more mainstay place of things to do, but
yeah, both of them are about half hour to 45 minutes from downtown Minneapolis. Just to give people an idea where you're at. You know, there's 150,000 Scott County. Most of them are on the north side, with the Minnesota River being on the north side of the county. Do you have that video of some of the history of? I know I had it yesterday, but
yep. We can dive into that once we get through the tours here. All right, we got Shakopee here coming up next.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I love the Minnesota vibe. I don't know, just wide open, greenness, blue skies. It's chilling.
It's Canterbury Downs right there.
Okay.
I think that's where they do the snowmobile racing in the wintertime too.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I have never been to a horse race.
I don't think I have either, to be honest. Yeah.
There's hecka jobs all over up there. It's crazy.
I think that's there's a Amazon fulfillment center up there that's just huge in Shakopee.
Oh, Valley Fair. We kind of looked at Valley Fair on Monday a little bit.
Looks like the parking lot dried out finally. It's probably earlier than the flooding a couple of weeks ago, but so there's the Minnesota River and all these grain bins. That's basically what built this area up economically. So Minnesota River and the Mississippi are two very important pieces of the global agriculture economy, and it's probably the most efficient and easiest way to ship anything is down a river. And the Midwest has been blessed with quite the river system. So
yes, absolutely.
It's given us competitive advantage.
See, that's such a cool main street, and like the row houses on it. That's dope.
Yeah, like you can do apartment living. You can go live on the river, wherever you want to go. Oh, look at that wetland. That's huge.
That's awesome.
I think that's 169 right there.
Okay. Yeah, plenty of agriculture. There is plenty of agriculture industry.
Yeah, that's what built the town right there.
If I had to guess, I would say that's Cargill or New Horizon.
I don't see any signs. What are we looking at?
That is a...
I don't think you want your kids to go in that.
That is an old, muddy swimming area.
Huh. Put some fish in there.
I think it's supposed to be like that. It's like a lake beach area. That's cool. The Shakopee Sabres.
They have so many sports fields and complexes. It's craziness down there.
And their schools are massive and amazing. Oh, golfing. There you go.
Yeah. Is that the Wild, maybe?
I'm not sure. Shakopee,
Minnesota. Any idea why they call it Shakopee or what it means?
I don't know, but I can find out real quick.
While you're taking a look there, I'll ramble off. We got farmers markets in Scott County. Some of the most, it looks like, for their county. Prior Lake this weekend, for example, Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon. Go to Main Street downtown, 8 a.m. noon Saturday in Prior Lake. There's Jordan Farmers Market, 9 a.m. to noon this Saturday, 225 Water Street. There's downtown Shakopee Farmers Market, Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the Lewis Street parking lot. They also have in Shakopee a second farmers market on Thursday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the American Legion. Oh, they also have a third farmers market in Shakopee, Tuesday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the St. Francis Southwest parking lot. Then there's Bella Plain with the farmers market on Wednesday, 3:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Burro Bowl parking lot. Savage, Minnesota has its own farmers market. Sundays, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Depot parking lot. New Prague has two, one on Saturday, 9 a.m. to noon. Oh, And then there's also a Thursday, 3 to 6 p.m. These are both on Main Street. So I guess they got three. The third, New Prague Farmers Market, Saturday, 9 a.m. to noon at the Smoke and Fire parking lot. I would definitely recommend checking out your local farmers market. It's a nice little scene, and you eat clean. Zing.
All right, so in 1851, Thomas Holmes established a trading post west of Dakota and platted Shakopee Village in 1854, named after Chief Shakopee II.
Chief.
So, and my guess is that it is in Ojibwe. Oh, nope. Chief Shakopee of the Metawankanton, Dakota.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I think they're just a little small tribe. They weren't the main tribe of the area. Well, I'll have to get a pronunciation of that. I mean, yeah. I bastardize a lot of words. I try to get them right anyways.
All right. The next video we have is some drone video of Savage, Minnesota.
612-930-2929. Go take a look around Savage.
Yeah, their schools are just ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a lot of money that flows into the school system. It's not like a lot of other states. Talking about you, Mississippi. It's nice there in a lot of colleges, Division III colleges right there. Sports Center, Environmental Learning Center, soccer fields, baseball fields, multiple softball fields.
Yeah, that's cool how they do that.
Probably a pretty good place to host a tournament. Yep.
Oh, for sure. 4 teams play at once, so you can get through some games in a day.
Right?
I think that's it. I think that's it. That's it.
What else we got cooking this week?
We do have this wildlife refuge video.
Yes, pull that up. The Minnesota Valley National Wildlife Refuge. Video provided by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Here's the Minnesota Valley National Wildlife Refuge. I went there for a conference one time for a soil water health convention.
Okay.
Very cool area.
Let me fix the audio on it.
If you have any questions, feel free to post in the comments or contact me at michael@walgrave.com.
Well, what we do here is we do good things for wildlife and people.
The comments we get most often from visitors is that they're surprised to find a place that is this natural right here in the heart of the city.
Minnesota Valley National Wildlife Refuge is located within a half of mile of the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport.
We have people on layovers who will come over and visit because we're just a short walk from the light rail station.
I don't think that's Scott County, but
opportunities for people who haven't spent time with nature on many different levels.
Having this partnership with the refuge allows us to connect
My bad,
kids with
Garrett,
the nature
but
in
we're
our
all
backyards.
things Twin Cities here.
Oh, absolutely.
That just kind of opens the gateway for people to understand the importance of being stewards for the natural world.
Yeah. If it's a national wildlife area, it's a pretty
it wasn't done.
pretty big thing.
I thought it was done.
more experiences kids have in nature where they're allowed to let their senses wander and take in everything they can, the easier it will be for them to concentrate in school. It's invaluable.
By engaging these new audiences, they see what we do, they know what we do, they care about what we do.
They get to really explore things that they never knew were there before.
If you want to touch this frog, then you can. And so it's very interesting to see them kind of like, I want to touch it, but I don't want to touch it. I kind of do.
I took this picture. That was the coolest thing I did today. Now I actually want to be a photographer when I grow up.
The more and more they do programs with this, the more and more they see the value in spending time outside.
In addition to being a home for wildlife and nature, it is a place of refuge for the community as well. We need to make sure that we are stewarding these places for all Americans, and that means helping everyone understand that this place is theirs.
Very cool.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. Okay, Amber just sent me a link for a video that we gotta watch. This is good.
Welcome to the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community.
Haukola. Hello, my friends.
Welcome to the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community.
Welcome to the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community.
Hi, and welcome to the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community.
Hello, welcome to our community. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, friend. Everyone have a good day.
Ampetu washte. Haukoda. Mitakuyapi. Good afternoon. Hello, all my friends, all my relatives.
Yahipi Kinwashte. Welcome. It's good that you could all come.
Haumitakiapi.
Moshishui Lance Makiapi Do.
Moshichi Josh Makiapi Do. My name is Josh.
My name is Lance.
Haumitakiapi. Ampetu de chante washte na pecho yuzapi do. Shakpe mendewa kantuan de koto oyate. Yahipi kinwashte do. Hello, all my relatives. Today I greet you with an open heart and a handshake. On behalf of the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community, I'd like to welcome you all here today.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you for coming, and I hope you have a nice day.
We appreciate your visit and are happy that you have joined us here.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Amber.
That was cool.
That's how you say it.
That's dope. All right. So what do we got next? We got the Minnesota history.
Yeah, give us a little dose of history here. Yeah, I might have to drive down to Mystic Lake today, like I said, and take a drive through the area. It's a neat area. They got a farm out there, like I was saying yesterday, where now the tribe's expanding into food production and this, and a few other businesses as well. So they're putting the casino money to work smartly, and yeah, they're really changing up, taking back the land.
Absolutely.
That's how you do that. So,
all right, here we go.
In 1850, Mississippi River steamboats began to explore the Minnesota River, which was then known as the St. Peter's River. Although Native Americans and fur traders had used the river, steamboats had not. The land in Minnesota Territory was populated by various tribes of Sioux and Chippewa. The first trip occurred on June 28th. The Minnesota River was high at the time, and the steamboat Anthony Wayne had just come into port. A group of St. Paul citizens urged Captain Abel of the Anthony Wayne to take an excursion trip up the Minnesota River. They even agreed to toss in $225 to cover the cost involved. So on the morning of the 28th, about 200 people gathered in St. Paul on the Anthony Wayne to start the first trip. At 166 feet long, the Anthony Wayne was a relatively large steamboat. The width of the boat was about 25.5 feet, it weighed about 165 tons, and it sat about 3 feet below the surface of the water. As the morning sun rose, the green vegetation gleamed with fresh moisture from the recent rains. The smell of humidity was in the air. After a short ride, the steamboat came up to Fort Snelling, at the junction of the Mississippi and Minnesota rivers. Here, the Fort Snelling band also boarded the steamboat.
Bring on the band.
The Anthony Wayne then turned into the Minnesota River and headed upstream.
You know what?
The excursionists made
We're
their
gonna
way
go
to the various
explore.
decks of the
We should bring a
steamboat,
band with us.
grabbed refreshments, or had a smoke. The first point they passed was Black Dog's village. Here the women were busy attending to the village's crops. About 5 miles more upstream, they passed Good Road's village. Next, near present-day Shakopee, stood Six's village.
Six village.
The steamboat continued on until it came near the present-day town of Chaska, where Louis Robert operated a trading post. Here a brief stop was made to unload some goods. They continued on, soon passing present-day Carver. Once pushing a little further upstream, they arrived at the Carver Rapids. During periods of low water, the Carver Rapids block most boats from getting further upstream. Here the Anthony Wayne found a small craft trying to push their boat over the rocks which composed the rapids. Knowing their much larger boat would not be able to pass, the Anthony Wayne turned around and headed back to St. Paul. About 2 weeks later, on July 11th, the steamboat Nominee decided to try and push further up the Minnesota River. This time a smaller group of St. Paul citizens boarded, and the steamboat headed up the Minnesota River. As the steamboat passed the various villages, the natives would grab their guns and fire salutes. The occupants on the boat noted that some of the bullets got a little too close for comfort,
It sounds
and
more
one
like
hit the engine
burning
room,
shots.
which could have been disastrous. The Nominee found plenty of water over the Carver Rapids, allowing them to easily pass. The people on board thought the country would someday be a great agricultural region, but it also had great tracts of oak trees. They soon reached Bois-Franc, where they stopped and did some exploring. They noticed evidence of an old cornfield and very tall grass. In addition, they found fields of ripe strawberries and raspberries. On a large elm tree near the bank of the river, they nailed up a sign that said, "Steamer Nominee, July 11th, 1850, highest point." Then they reboarded and headed back to St. Paul. These excursions up the Minnesota River were garnering national attention, which encouraged even further exploration. Therefore, about a week later, on July 19th, the steamboat Anthony Wayne took its next shot at getting further up the Minnesota River than the Nominee.
Why does it say
Leaving St.
Itasca
Paul
on
at
the
4 in the morning, the Anthony Wayne reached Bois-Franc by noon.
Everybody's got
Rather than
steamboat fever
stopping, they
back in
continued
1850.
upstream. Immediately, they noticed the area was different, mainly in the types of trees and the density of the forest. The French word Bois-Franc means hardwood. They found maples, ash, walnut, oak, and wild cherry trees. Mixed in with the trees, they found wild grapes, some growing into the tops of the trees. At some point along the river, they also found rolling prairie. One of these spots was Traverse des Sioux, which was a long-used river crossing for Sioux tribes, and it had also become a missionary settlement. Here the excursionists found 3 frame dwellings used by the missionary for lodging and a school, and several lodges used by the natives. Huge gardens were filled with corn, potatoes, wheat, barley, and rye. They also had fresh milk. Here the excursionists stopped for the night. On the morning of the 20th, they set out again, intending to get further upstream. However, they began to encounter quite a few snags or trees in the river. Finally, they decided to stop the steamboat and look around. Then the steamboat captain decided to let the passengers vote on what they wanted to do. Almost unanimously, they voted to head back. So near modern-day Kasota, Minnesota, they turned around and headed back to St. Paul. Before leaving, they also marked their spot with a sign that said, Anthony Wayne, come on, Yankee, tempting the steamboat Yankee to try to beat them. A few days later, on July 22nd, the Yankee took a shot at becoming the top boat. Its departure point was also St. Paul, where the steamboats would typically dock. The captain of the Yankee was determined to beat the Anthony Wayne, saying he would get further or sink trying. He therefore had to make more elaborate plans, which included taking 1 ton of ice along to keep their food from spoiling. The 80 excursionists also had to pack for nearly a week's time. Some of the passengers thought they would get to a point where they would see herds of buffalo, so they brought their guns along. The Yankee was a slightly smaller boat than the Anthony Wayne, therefore it would be a little more maneuverable. It was 120 feet in length, while the Wayne was 166 feet. They shoved off and soon reached Fort Snelling, where the post band was picked up for the trip. As with prior trips, the passengers soon noted several Native American villages along the banks of the Minnesota River. Fields of maturing corn were also evident at the village sites. As it was getting dark, the Yankee stopped for the night downstream of the Carver Rapids. Here they tied it up for the night and held a dance on board.
Oh no.
On the morning of the 23rd, they passed over the Carver Rapids. The river was still high, so it was easy to pass over them. However, it was hard to determine where the banks of the river had been, so some time was lost in backing up and using push poles occasionally. The excursionists were also impressed with the country, seeing many smaller streams entering the river, a multitude of fish and wild birds, and rich land for farming. In addition, they noted the expansive forests of maple and oak trees. Soon they reached Traverse de Sioux, where the mission was located.
Purposes.
Here, several painted Sioux horsemen came galloping to the landing to meet them. Being late July, the wheat had been harvested, and the corn was maturing. The Yankee continued on for several more miles, eventually stopping to find more wood to burn in its engines. A few miles further, and they arrived at the point where the Anthony Wayne had stopped. A brief stop was made to take down the sign, as proof of their getting that far. The passengers had time to look around on the banks of the river and on sandbars, many collecting specimens of shells. The Yankee made it a little further upstream before stopping again for the night. Here, the excursionists and the band got off the steamboat, found a flat spot on the prairie, and held another dance under the light of the moon.
Nice.
On the 24th, the excursion continued onward. At noon, the temperature climbed over 100 degrees.
This day in history.
With no wind and being enclosed on both sides by dense woods, it felt even warmer on the steamboat. Adding to their misery, the Minnesota River seemingly had more twists and turns. The mosquitoes were fierce, and they were running out of ice. After nearly reaching the mouth of the Cottonwood River, the excursionists decided to stop and spend the night. On the morning of the 25th, they decided to turn around and head back, briefly stopping at the mouth of the Blue Earth River for a meal. They made it to Traverse de Sioux, where they decided to stop for the night. On the morning of the 26th, they continued toward home. They made a stop at Little Six's village near modern-day Shakopee, where the chief and about 100 villagers came on board. Little Six made a speech, saying the steamboats were the reason his crops were not doing well. After giving the tribe some food, the Yankee continued homeward. On the 27th, the excursionists were thrilled to see Fort Snelling, with its American flag waving in the breeze. A short time later, they made it back to St. Paul.
Wow, imagine living in those days.
That concludes the video. Please check out my websites at mnbricks.com and chaskabrick.com.
Find that on YouTube, the Minnesota River Steam Excursions of 1850. Wow. Can't believe they brought bands along, though. Like, let's take a... Maybe we should bring that back. We need more tugboat, steamboat, band scenarios, perhaps. I don't know. Music on the water. All right. We got anything else in the hopper there for videos? Or
I don't think so.
All right. Well, let's wind this down then. I appreciate everybody tuning in today. My name is Mike or Michael Walgrave, whatever you feel comfortable with calling me. Call me my phone number at 612-930-2929. I'm a realtor for Remax Advantage Plus, part of the Walgrave Real Estate Group in Savage, Minnesota in Scott County. That's where our office is located, hence this week's video. Give me a shout, and we'll figure out your property needs and desires and goals. So 612-930-2929. If you want to check out more real estate video, we're kind of giving you the little bit entertainment value here, kind of get to know the area kind of stuff. There's some other shows out there a little bit different than this. We got my cousin's show coming on at noon here today, Central Standard Time. It'll be on YouTube. It's U.S. Home Talk with Jason and Marcus Walgrave and Mike Overson from Luminate Bank. Check them out at noon. I believe they're on Facebook as well. I think Audacity maybe. So noon on Wednesdays, every Wednesday, Central Standard Time, U.S. Home Talk. And then on Saturday, 10 to 11, the Minnesota Real Estate Team, hosted by Ryan O'Neill and a couple other dudes. They come on from 10 to 11 a.m. They're on Facebook, YouTube, and live on WCCO Radio. So if you want more intel on the area, check those guys out, and you'll get a better, more well-rounded view of the Twin Cities metro area. And I think that's about all we got. Check out a farmer's market. Google up Scott County Farmers Markets. They'll give you the whole list. Prior Lake, Jordan, Shakopee, Bella Plain. Go make use of those beautiful parks. Get out in nature if the weather's nice. And enjoy your time and get moving in Minnesota. So my name is Michael Walgrave. We got Garrett Beans, Beaner producer in the backdrop there, and we appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back here tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube again. And we'll finish up. We'll do show number 9. We're in week number 2. Appreciate all the love and everybody hanging out. And we'll catch you on the flip. Have a great day and peace.